Today, a Chicago man with Down syndrome is expected to enter pleas in connection with police say 22-year-old Nicholas Samudio was shot a man in North Lawndale in February, 10 days after the driver on Interstate 55. 25-year-old Humberto Marin-Garcia was traveling with his pregnant wife and their two young children when their car was hit by gunfire on the Stevenson near Bridgeport. His wife says she was able to stop the car and then realized her husband was no longer breathing. Samudio was arrested after the second shooting along with another man.
A notorious Chicago street gang, the Latin Kings, is gaining attention for an unusual twist in a recent case. Authorities report that one of the gang's most feared hitmen, Nicholas Smush Samudio, has Down syndrome. Samudio now faces charges for 2 deletions committed within a span of 10 days. According to the Chicago Sun-Times, Samudio was indicted on felony deletion charges for the February 16 road rage deletion of Humberto Marin-Garcia and the February 26 slaying of Tomas Villa. After the second deletion, Samudio was apprehended following a high-speed chase in a stolen vehicle. The second deletion, which police describe as bold and brazen, may have been a tragic case of mistaken identity. Detectives believe Samudio confused Villa's baseball cap with one worn by a rival gang member. Shell casings from the scene of Villa's demise were later matched to a .380 caliber handgun that officers suspect Samudio discarded during the chase. Samudio's public defender has stated that the accused suffers from Down syndrome, a genetic disorder, and was previously employed in jobs such as furniture moving and demolition. Despite his diagnosis, Samudio has been a known figure to law enforcement, with 17 prior arrests since turning 18, including suspicions of involvement in a 2020 gang deletion in Chicago's McKinley Park neighborhood, though charges were never filed in that case. In the Marin-Garcia slaying, Samudio allegedly shot the victim during a road rage incident, with the deletion taking place in front of Marin-Garcia's pregnant wife. Authorities say Samudio remains a suspect in multiple other gang-related deletions, and he is currently being held without bail. This case presents a complex mix of tragedy, shock, and moral ambiguity. On one hand, it's deeply unsettling to think that a young man with Down syndrome, someone typically associated with vulnerability and innocence, could become involved in such violent and cold-blooded crimes. Nicholas Smush Samudio's alleged actions are serious, and if proven guilty, they showed the brutal reality of gang life, where even individuals with disabilities can be drawn in or manipulated into participating in horrific acts. From a broader social perspective, it raises questions about how much responsibility Samudio can bear for his actions. People with Down syndrome can have cognitive impairments, and that makes it crucial to assess his ability to understand the consequences of his behavior. Was he exploited by gang leaders who took advantage of his condition? Or was he fully aware of his actions and driven by the same motivations that fuel gang violence across cities like Chicago? The public may find it hard to reconcile these questions, especially when so many lives have been lost or destroyed in this cycle of violence. It also highlights a failure of social safety nets and the justice system. Samudio had been arrested 17 times since turning 18, yet he was still on the streets, involved in even more violence. How does someone with such a history, especially someone with Down syndrome, fall so deeply into gang life without intervention? This case points to larger systemic issues: inadequate mental health care, the lure of gangs preying on vulnerable individuals, and a justice system that allows people to slip through the cracks. On a human level, it's devastating for the victims' families, especially Humberto Marin-Garcia's, who witnessed the murder during a road rage incident, which underscores the random and senseless nature of street violence. Tomas Villa's, likely a case of mistaken identity, adds another tragic layer to the story. In the end, this case blends sympathy, outrage, and confusion. Sympathy for Samudio if he was indeed exploited by those around him, outrage over the loss of innocent lives, and confusion over how someone with such a disorder could become so enmeshed in a life of crime. It's a grim reminder of the complexity and tragedy of gang violence in America.